President Xi Jinping of China, he was hosting these other world leaders, including Russian President Vladimir Putin, as well as North Korea's leader Kim Jong un. I just wonder what you make of the timing of this and what it could potentially signal for the United States.
Yeah, definitely there is a lot of symbolism because definitely the parade shows the military strength of China. Then what is interesting is, Putin and Kim Jong-un also joined together. I think for the first time, these three leaders met together in one place. I think definitely uh, there is some significance because all these three countries promoted kind of anti-West and anti-American, campaigns. Their goal is to create more multipolar world. They do not like the dominance of American hegemonic position. So, um, but China had many partners, economic partners and business partners, but the problem was China lacked military allies except North Korea. But even North Korea was getting close to Russia because North Korea sent troops to support the war in Ukraine. So that's why there were some Chinese experts worried, they are closing to Russia, not China. But these three leaders joined together. It showed the possibility of some military alliance among three countries, three nuclear powers, right?
Right.
So that's why if they are really successful in creating formal military alliance, definitely it is a big challenge to the United States because the problem was the U.S. has antagonized even its allies through tariff warfares, and then European Union, even Canada, Japan, South Korea, U.S. allies. The problem is they do not trust the U.S. anymore because of this event. And then U.S. alone, it's very tough to handle. Even China alone, right? The rise of China. But the problem was Russia, China, and North Korea. They are getting very close to each other. And then if they form formal military alliance, definitely it is a big challenge to the United States.
Some people have described this moment in time as the formation of a new world order. Would you agree with that assessment?
And of course, there are some barriers because actually Russia and China, between these two powers, there was some suspicion because China does not like the expansion of Russia to Far East, and then Russia does not like the expansion of China to Central Asia. So that's why, and also, China and Russia, they have very different cultures, different historical experiences, and actually, there's no strong common cultural ties or, uh, you know, uh, uh, so that's why I think there was some skepticism, even though, they share some ideas like anti-West or anti-American ideologies, but at the same time, there are some barriers. But uh, the war in Ukraine actually changed many things because China decided to buy some natural resources, natural gas from Russia. It saved the Russian economy, and also North Korea sent troops to support Russia. So I think the war in Ukraine changed a lot, and it provided a great opportunity for three countries to help each other. So um, so that's why I think there are many new developments. There are many variables that can affect or this relationship. But as of now, I think the war on Ukraine provided a great opportunity for three countries, join together. And then, but we have to wait and see whether this cooperation can really develop into formal military alliance or not. We may have to wait and see, but that is one of possibilities, definitely.
And of course, there's also this side conflict between the United States and China with regard to Taiwan, of course. Would you say that this military parade was sort of a show of force pertaining to that conflict, or would you say this is more so to do with showing the US that China has other allies?
Yeah, as you know, there are some territorial disputes over Taiwan, not only over Taiwan, but also the South China Sea. And then China militarized the South China Sea, and then sometimes, demonstrating its military power and intimidating Taiwan. And so definitely the parade also revealed its willingness, right? Its willingness to control the South China Sea and even Taiwan. Also, the problem is China, the military gap between the US and China is being narrowed relatively quickly, and even China began to surpass the US in certain sectors, like, for example, China has more military ships and also submarines, for example, submarines. So in some areas, particularly traditionally, China was land power, but it is investing a lot in Navy sectors, and it is catching up very quickly in naval capabilities. Definitely, it's not a good sign. So we cannot deny that China could be uh, the most serious military challenger to the United States, because China wants to control at least East Asia or Asia Pacific. But East Asia or the Asia Pacific is also an important area for the US, except Mexico and Canada. I think East Asia is the biggest market for United States, and also Taiwan, Japan, South Korea. They are important trade partners of the United States. So that's the dilemma right now. Both China and the United States, they cannot give up, Taiwan and the South China Sea and East Asia. So these tensions can escalate into, even military clash. That is the worst case scenario. But if you look at some historical patterns, um, the possibility of war is increasing rather than decreasing, to be honest,
Hmm.
given some historical patterns. And, there have been so many military conflicts and wars between great powers. But since the end of World War II, there has been no major war between great powers, right?
Yeah.
Uh, but the problem is a transitional period is very dangerous.
I wonder what you think Russia and North Korea would gain by moving closer to China. Obviously, they were never close with the United States, but by moving in China's direction, what are those two nations gaining here?
Because North Korea is desperate. There is desperation because the economy is going down. Isolation has continued because of nuclear development. So North Korea needs, the support from China as well as Russia, right?
Right.
So that's why there is some desperation for Kim Jong Un. They want to get out of isolation, in a diplomatic setting and also economically. Yeah, uh, there is very strong desire, right, for North Korea to get some help from China. Russia, things are the same. After the war in Ukraine, Russia was also isolated, right? There were economic sanctions. Without the support of China, the Russian economy could not survive. But China, decided to import a lot of natural gas from Russia. So Russia also needs China economically and also militarily, because uh, the war in Ukraine is not, small scale warfare. Actually, European Union, they have deep concerns about the military expansion of Russia. The Ukraine located between Europe and Russia, and the next target could be Poland or Eastern European countries. So that's why Russia has been isolated as well, economically and diplomatically. So that's why Russia also wants to make a stronger coalition with China economically and militarily. So all these three countries have strong desires, to make a stronger alliance.
North Korea and Russia, as you mentioned, have been isolated. So, by North Korea positioning itself in China's inner circle, is it forcing the US to engage?
Yeah, I agree. But North Korea met, North Korean leader Kim Jong-un met President Trump in 2018, and also the North Korean leader Kim Jong-un met South Korean leader Moon Jae-in as well in the same year because of isolation. But now there's no strong incentive to meet American president or South Korean president because if they can maintain good relations with Russia and China, strong economic supporters. So I believe there is less incentive. It doesn't mean that Kim Jong-un is not willing to meet uh, American president or South Korean president, but there is less incentive because at the time, because of nuclear development, very heightened economic sanctions started. The economy suffered a lot. So that's why, out of desperation, Kim Jong-un was willing to meet American president and South Korean president. But now I think there is less incentive because of China and Russia. But it also depends upon how the U.S. Behaves, how the U.S. responds. But and also the role of South Korea is also very important between the U.S. and North Korea. But the problem is the lack of trust because
Right.
they met together, but they could not reach the final agreement. And then the U.S. does not trust Pyongyang, but Pyongyang also does not trust Washington as well either. So that is one of the main problems. Um, but if the U.S. is really willing to um, provide really something substantial, there is some possibility the North Korean leader will come out. Otherwise, if there is no sign of providing strong economic incentives or substantial concessions, otherwise, I think as of now, there is less incentive for him to come out to meet American president.